Welcome back to another episode of the Red Pill Cartel. I have a very interesting guest today and also a fellow podcaster, host of the Occult 45 podcast, Mr. Evan Dee. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up, Davey Wavy? Thanks for having me, man.
You're welcome, man. It's four times a charm, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm glad we fought through all the obstacles and we finally got together to make this happen. So, yeah, it's going to be a great
Yeah,
conversation.
for sure, man. It's been a while since I did a show actually. I had to put out my last episode was when I was on Reality Czar's Schizo News Network. It was just something I had to throw out there because I didn't have any content. But finally, I have this episode to put out for you guys. And Evan, where do we start, man? Like you had a pretty troubled past, and you've had to fight through that shit. Can you give me a little idea of what happened there?
Yeah, man. So, I kind of I was already I was kind of already into the like conspiracy world. I knew something wasn't quite right with what we got going on here,
Sure.
and ended up yeah, a whirlwind hit me. Ended up becoming an IV drug user, and then I ended that whole part of my life with a ibogaine experience in Mexico. Um, Flew there and did ibogaine, which is an African psychedelic. It's a root bark from the iboga tree, and I ended up doing that in Mexico and smoking 5-MeO DMT from the Sonoran Desert Toad. That's what got me clean off the dope. And then ever since then, it's just been DMT found me, and it's just been I've uncovered a lot of stuff in my travels over the past few years. So
What was it about the that experience that made you clean? Was it like did it like show you all the fucking evil or the darkness that was inside of you and then it cleaned you out? Or did it just make you go, I don't want to do this anymore because, you know, it, it's going to kill me for one. And I don't want to see what's on the other side if I'm in this amount of darkness right now.
yeah, basically, so like Iboga showed me like why I was using, and like I just went through a breakup and stuff, so I took that kind of to heart. I was a young man back then, so I took that to heart. I was holding on to that, and it was just a bad time for me, and it all lined up perfectly for me to go through this experience like in life, and I don't regret the troubled stuff I did go through because I wouldn't be on this side knowing what I know now if I never went through that stuff. So it was definitely a great
Yeah.
learning experience.
I always say like, all the negative shit that happens to us is for a particular reason. We might not know exactly what it is, but once we come out through the other side, then we're going to be a better person for it. And if we take those as a positive experience, it didn't feel like a positive experience when you were going through it, but once you come out the other side, you can look back at it and go, "Holy shit, that did happen for a purpose."
Yeah, and another thing about Iboga too is not only did it show me what I was doing and erase the negativity from my life at that time, but it is a good scrubber of like it detoxified my entire body and just pushed all that stuff out of me. And the next day I remember waking up and just feeling so much different. Well, not even waking up because I stayed up that whole night through the experience, which I detail on my show in an episode. I go through the whole experience in detail about like what I experienced, because and yeah, it just totally scrubbed my body, got rid of the whole addiction. And that night, March 19th of 2019, I count as the night my first interdimensional like contact with like real stuff from the other side.
like different entities and shit like that, like through the drug experience, or
Yep, through
yeah,
through through Iboga, it was like this like Mayan looking like deity that was like
Why is it?
doing the
It's always the Mayan stuff. Almost every experience that I hear from people going to the other side, it's like those Mayan patterns. Like if you look at the like tools artwork and shit like that, that's what people see. And it's like,
yeah, yeah.
there's something about the Mayan civilization and them designing all of their architecture uh, according to what they see on the other side.
Yeah, and little did I know this was just the beginning for me. And I would end up later having really, really crazy out of this world interdimensional contact with beings that are definitely not human, but they've they've told me a lot of information and shown me a lot of stuff that I've had things done to me in that realm, sometimes a little like uncomfortable, like kind of like really strange like medical experiments done on me. So the ibogaine and like that first interdimensional contact, that was just the beginning of this like crazy stuff that was about to be shown to me. So it's just
And
been so crazy.
unforgettable, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely unforgettable. These experiences, each one is so different, but so special in its own way. And really, the big, like, important experiences just like ingrained into my mind now. Like, there's like some of the, I don't remember the whole thing, obviously, but some of those bigger details are like really stand out, like, as like a really important experience.
And I think you mentioned that one of these entities told you that they unlocked your DNA so that it give you healing abilities.
Okay, so yeah, that the first night that I was
That
told that,
fucking blew my mind, man.
yeah, yeah, I'm still integrating that, and we're all December is going to be 2 years since that experience. That was when I was doing ayahuasca in Peru. One of the nights, my intention was just purely, I'm like, let's not work on me for like one night. I just want to like purely gather information, just explore. And that night, boy, did I get that, because it was exactly what I asked for, like all kinds of different information about like mushroom growing and all this stuff about my life. And then one part of the night, I'm like hanging with these bird-headed like people, and they're like sitting in a circle like around me. I'm on ayahuasca, like it's towards the end of the trip, but still very much in the medicine. And yeah, man, these bird-headed people were just are you gonna accept like what we're about to like give to you? And I was just like, yes, I do accept it. They're like, it's like a big responsibility, like have like being this like having healer qualities. And I was like, yeah, I accept it. And then they were like, all right, consider it done. So whatever that means, I'm still, they told me it's going to take a long time to develop and figure out exactly what they meant, but in time I will come to know what they meant, and it will show itself exactly like
Manifest
what
itself.
that
Yeah.
what yeah, exactly what they gave to me. So yeah, that the whole ayahuasca experience in Peru was just solidified all of what I thought I already knew. It just solidified all that plus a whole shit ton more of like, just it none of it in was in my head the whole time. Like it is
That
happening externally, like.
yeah, that was actually going to be my next question for you was like, what is it that um, how can you describe it so that you know that it wasn't just like you seeing shit or having hallucinations, like it's not just all in your fucking head, but there's actually beings that contact you, and it's like in your mind, but at the same time you're in like another fucking dimension, right?
Exactly, exactly. The veil is pulled up, and you are in another dimension. Science is gonna try to tell us that this is our brain showing us different aspects of ourself and all this shit, but to
Right,
me, it seems way more real than that. My brain is not gonna show me an alien abduction experience with tools getting shoved into my body. Like,
right.
that's, you know what I mean? That's not just a hallucination. That's really happening. Like, and once you have the experience, it seems that to be that way. And I felt physical sensations in my body from like what I was seeing happen. So like it was directly affecting my body multiple times. I've had that happen.
That's wild, man. I've heard so many different because I'm a podcast junkie, like, and I have been for years. And I mostly listen to stuff like this, right? I listen to other stuff too, like video game stuff, movie stuff, but this is what interests me the most because it's what helps us grow as humans. So that's what I want, right? But I've heard so many things like the spirit realm is much more lucid and more fluid than this reality, which makes me feel like, yeah, I guess we are in a simulation then if this isn't as real as the spiritual realm. Like this is
Yeah,
where we
like
test, this is where we train mentally to enter the spirit realm, right?
yeah, I like that a lot. This, us this is just a test for when we do go to the next step, if to see if we can even handle the spirit realm.
Right,
Because
right.
like if you can't handle this, I don't think you're gonna do well on that other side.
I
But
don't know though, but because like I guess that's where we're all meant to go in the end, right? After
yeah,
this.
exactly. We're all going there no matter what. So yeah, I don't know, man. There's just so much information flowing and just so much theories. It's like the reason why this is so interesting to me, like this, I'm gonna be talking about this forever because this it's so interesting because we all don't know,
Yeah,
you know,
that's the
which
thing.
is why,
And
yeah.
I said to somebody else on another show, oh, with my buddy Andrew Cooper, I said, the great Jim Morrison said that no one here gets out alive. Like that's the one thing we all have in common is that we all have this life and we're all going to the other one after, and it all depends on like the actions that you take here right now. You could have the most difficult time on in this plane of existence because of the fact that you choose to stand your spiritual high ground and treat others like you want to be treated, as opposed to being a rich, greedy scumbag that's going to trounce on every person that comes his way to get that money, right? And that money is not going to be taken with you when you fucking go. So I think that's one of the main testing, uh, like mental preparedness things. It's like you shouldn't care so much about money, because it, it's not gonna be with you when you go. So, you could start an empire and leave it for your family, for a trust fund kid like Billy Madison, and Billy Madison is gonna be a stupid fuck that's not gonna be able to inherit his father's company because he's too retarded, right? So it's like money can really fuck people up in the end.
Yeah, the old cliche, money is the root of all evil, but I mean, it really is because it's literally just imaginary numbers in a screen that they type in, and we're all like trading our entire lives for these imaginary numbers, and it's like, yeah, because they know if we knew what they knew, things will be and are gonna be a lot different.
Yeah, I
And we're
agree.
slowly finding out and spreading these words. And yeah, man, I'm just happy to be on this side of it all and extremely lucky and grateful.
For sure, man. I mean, it's not easy, right? Like I don't have a lot of money, and I don't know if I'm gonna have a lot of money when I'm retired. I probably won't. I'm probably gonna have to work till I'm 80, you know? But it's that mental gymnastics of being able to be happy even though I know I'm gonna still be working my ass off until I die.
That's a great quality to have about you, man. Like seeing life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about dancing in the rain, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Knowing
So
that like there's a lot of people that that reach out to me and say I'm having a really hard time right now, and like this and this happened to me, such and such a person did this to me, and I don't know what to do. And I said, you have to, life is full of fucking storms. It can't be, sunshine and butterflies all the time, right? You're going through a storm, and like every storm, it will pass. You just have to be able to train your mind to be like, okay, this fucking sucks right now, but I will get through the other side. And I've had my own storms too, and that's why I can give that advice. Yeah, it's just like you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, man. I'm here on the other side, able to help a lot better people who might be going through because I'm in the construction industry and I see a lot of people, work with a lot of different people, and definitely it's cool being able to the ones who need you find you. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
your vibe attracts your tribe. That's so true.
I totally feel that, man, all the time. And even
Yeah,
now, like these kids that I work with, they're like 20, like early 20s and shit, and they found out I have
weird.
a pod. They found out I have a podcast that we talked about this kind of stuff. They're always asking me questions about God and the Bible and all that stuff, and it's like it's really cool because I can just kind of point them in the right direction of where I'm going, but like it might not be their direction, right? Because and I'm always switching directions. I'm always like, fuck, maybe the Bible is not actually true. Maybe it's just one of many books. Maybe it's the one book that, the Christians say you get grafted in, right? It's like, what are you getting grafted into? It could be this whole uh plot of Zionist world domination. Is that what you want to be grafted into? you know?
Yeah, no, no, not me. Um, yeah. Um, I'm kind of speaking of like what you where you're going with your like studies and stuff. I'm kind of like I've established the whole like disclosure thing has happened for me. Like in from 2019 until now, I don't need them to tell me. I've seen it and I already know that we're not the only ones here. I can say that for a fact. And my research now is leaning like in Peru, these beings were like laughing and they were telling me, you've been so hung up on the fact that we're aliens. You need to look. There's so much more for us to tell you. Like, yes, we are that. We're not even that. But if you want to call us that, you can. But that's not real. That's not really what we are. But anyway, you can call us that. So anyway, let's move on from that and let's go into the deeper esoteric truths and like these just deeper topics. Deeper occulted information, So I'm excited where the show's going. And definitely excited. My studies right now are Agartha and Tibet because I know that there's people inside the earth. It just in my soul, I can feel it. Like that's so true. Like how could that not be true? Like Agartha and like storing the all the history of humanity in stone, like chiseled in stone pillars, and like the city's like protected psychically by a barrier. Like you can't even get there, even if you wanted to. Like, dude,
Right.
that's so real. Like it's gotta be. You know what I
I
mean?
I'm I've always like ever since I started this show, I've always said like a million times, you could probably like have like an alcoholic overdose if you listen to my show and take a shot every time I say anything is possible. Because that's what I believe. I believe anything is possible. I don't disbelieve and I don't believe wholeheartedly. I just kind of take that middle ground and I'm like, okay, what when I hear people talking about, I'm like, I don't see it for myself, but I do believe it's possible. Like, especially the whole flat Earth thing. And people get so
Yeah,
mad when I bring it up, and I'm like, dude, it's just like it's possible. You've never been up there, and I've never been up there. So how
yeah.
do you know that these motherfuckers haven't been lying to us this whole entire time? unless you go up there yourself and you come back down and say, holy shit, dude, the earth is flat. I don't know. Right. And for the fact that people get so fucking mad about like somebody mentioning the fact that it could be, there's something wrong there because
It's insane. Yeah.
yeah, there's something wrong when people get so mad about what they believe and somebody trying to come along and try to shatter that belief system. And it's the same thing with Christians. You say something like, maybe Jesus didn't exist. Maybe this is a story to like help us guide us through life. You can't say he's the son of God, blah, 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 blah. What about the fact that maybe all of us are God? Maybe we are supposed to all be like Jesus, right? Like we're supposed to walk like that, but not claim that we are God, which he never did, I don't think. And maybe we're all supposed to be like him, but the church has taken that message and made him an idol, right? I don't know. These are just the things I think about all the time.
Yeah, and like you were saying, the the book's been manipulated so much. We have no idea what in it. I mean,
Yeah,
the history and the story is always written by the victors. So it's like, you know,
absolutely.
I've
His
been
his
hearing that a
story.
lot lately, and it's just resonating with me. But it's so
Yeah,
true. Like, why wouldn't they tell us the bullshit? And it's just their plan is they know what's going on, and they know exactly how we work, and it's crazy how we even got to this point. But I know shit is changing behind the scenes, and I think stuff is gonna be good because in the end we win.
yeah. I always say that. I've heard somebody say recently that good doesn't always win, but I think in the very end they do.
Right. That's always the story, you know what I mean? That
Yeah,
good always comes back and
right.
and gets it at the end. That's just how it is
Like
always.
even martial arts movies like Bloodsport, like fucking Van Damme's getting the shit kicked out of him
The
by
fucking
this
sand
evil.
thrown in his eyes.
Yeah, and then he fucking comes back. And he's like, "Rah, blah, blah, blah," right? It's like it. It always good always perseveres over evil in the end because evil doesn't have those virtuous qualities that good people have, right?
Absolutely. I agree 100%, man.
So when you were in your on the other side, did what I was saying earlier, how the spiritual realm is more fluid than this reality? Did you experience that feeling? Like it looked more real than this reality?
Yeah, every time I go into that kind of realm, whether it be with mushrooms, DMT, ayahuasca, it's the same look, the same. I was just talking about that today. The same feel. It's very like toony, cartoony, very defined, like very hyper real. Yeah, more real than here. It just
Like
feels like that's the
more
real world.
more high definition than any television could give you.
Yeah, for sure. And like
Yeah.
especially with DMT, smoking DMT, your eyes are usually closed. Well, this is for me. My eyes are usually closed, but even if I was gonna open them, I wouldn't even want to miss out on what I was seeing with my eyes closed because it's just an entire other world, literally catapulted into another world, and it's just like,
You'd probably see the same thing even though your eyes were open.
yeah, I have had open-eyed visual experiences too, where like I've seen like portals open in the room and like a like elf type like creature just step into the room and was like manipulating this like 3D cube, and my girlfriend was actually over on the couch talking to her sister, and I had headphones in listening to music, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna hit this cartridge and see what happens. Because I want to try to keep my eyes open because I always close my eyes. I'm gonna try to keep them open. So I kept them open, and that's when a portal opens in the freaking room. This freaking like elf creature steps through the portal, and then he's manipulating this 3D cube, and there's like hieroglyphics like running in and out of it. I just look at my girlfriend. I'm just like, And then I freaking just look back at it, and he's just like showing me all these ancient symbols, and he's going with the music that I'm listening to in my headphones, like perfectly,
Oh,
like doing all this stuff. And then there was another being in the room that time too. I'll never forget that time because that other being was like crouched up on the table, standing on the table, but crouched down on his feet. And then I'd be watching this being like manipulating this cube, and that being would like phase into the reality. Like I could see that being like very much. And then I would look over at the table, and he would like phase shift out so I could barely see him. Like that one wouldn't let me like look right at him.
damn.
Yeah. So just the stuff like that, dude.
Did they look cartoony as well?
Yeah, they do. Just like
That's
defined
so
facial
weird.
feature. Yeah, it is weird. Especially the DMT beings that I see a lot. They're very like playful and like very like in your face, just like eager to show you all this stuff. And
They're like,
I've
dude,
had
we got one that broke through. Hey, man, what's going on, dude?
yeah,
Yeah.
and sometimes that intensity is a little too much because like they're like
They,
right, especially
they
I
probably
talk
get
about
really excited to see somebody that knows that they're there from the other
they
side.
they know that you're coming basically.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
That's what it seems like. I've heard it from multiple people, and I can say from multiple experiences, yes, that is the case. They seem to either be expecting you or notice you shortly after arrival.
Have you ever heard of a comedian named Shane Moss?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay, so I was listening to
Yeah.
him. I think he was on Sam Tripoli's show like years ago, and I was listening to him talk about DMT. And he was saying that he did DMT and he experienced this purple lady, right? And so it was like a few years later, and his buddy did DMT and came back to him and said, dude, I did DMT finally. And it fucking blew my mind. He's like, oh, really? What'd you experience? He's like, well, you're not going to believe this shit. Okay. He said, I saw the purple lady you were talking about. And she told me, when's Shane coming back to see me? And Shane was like, holy shit. So it's not like just some personalized greeting from some entity. It's for everybody, right? That shit blew
Yep.
my mind when I heard that.
That that just actually that's crazy that you say that because I think I've heard that exact story that you're talking about. But not only that, you just sparked this memory of my one of my lineman buddies out in California. He called me. We ended up developing a close connection. We were in high school together, but never really were close in high school. He ended up listening to my stuff, and we were on the same page basically with all this stuff. So
Wild.
we ended up building a connection, and he calls me randomly like one day, and he was like, "Dude, I met them on the other side, and they told me to tell you, whatever you're doing, keep doing it because they love it." And he was like, "Dude, on mushrooms, I met like elf like beings, and they told me to tell you that." And I was like, "What the fuck?" So that right
Oh,
there,
wild.
dude, I haven't shared that much with anybody. That's that story. I forgot about that until you just said that. So
Right, right. That's amazing, man. Seriously
like,
amazing.
what the
Another,
hell is that?
yeah, because I haven't experienced all this stuff. Like I'm kind of like, I'm very, I guess you could say fearful of taking psychedelics. Like
Which
they
is
kind of
a
freak me
really
out.
good thing.
Because I've only done acid. I've done acid once when I was like 14, and that was the only time I ever did it. And it's the only time I felt that I ever needed to do it because right then and there it made me feel like, okay, there's more to life than just what we see. That's all I needed. That's all I needed that experience for. Plus the paranormal experiences I had when I was like 11 years old. That's all part of my spiritual journey. Like and not only me, like I've had another person experience the same thing with me. So like three encounters in that same house. And the third experience was somebody else with me experiencing it in the same fucking voice, right? So all that shit
Oh,
combined is what.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and on top of that, I went to visit that house like a couple years ago when I started doing my podcast, and I started telling them, the kids that lived there, I said, told them what was going on, and I'm a podcaster. I talk about paranormal conspiracy stuff, that this and that, right? He's like, well, I don't believe in that shit, but my sister here does, right? And the sister came over to me and told me that because they moved in pretty much right after we left in the early 90s, and they grew up in that house, and they've had several paranormal experiences in that house. So that validated everything for me, right? Because I was just a kid when it happened, and I took that
Right.
with me my whole life. So when I talked to them, they validated it for me, and I was like, holy shit, wild, right? But yeah, man, it's just like, it is what it is, man. Some people, I feel like they don't get that tap on the shoulder to wake up. I don't understand why it had to be you, why it had to be me, why it had to be Sam Tripoli, all the people that are talking like this.
I know, dude.
But
I don't either, man, but I love it.
it's
Yeah.
I love it too, because it makes the world so much more fucking interesting than this bullshit mall that I see across the street, or
Uh,
these ugly looking buildings here and that. I could picture the spirit realm almost. You know what I mean? I'm like, I could see, like, I wonder what spirits are like wandering around in that sky right now. I wonder what the entities in the spirit realm are thinking about me, because I haven't had those trips. I haven't had those encounters with them. Next time you go, ask them about me.
I will definitely add that to my list of hellos.
I was listening to Eddie Bravo's podcast the other day, and he was saying that. Oh no, I was listening to him on Sam Tripoli's podcast, and he was saying he had a friend that was microdosing DMT, and when he was microdosing it, he was shining one of those laser pens on the wall,
Dude, I heard that exact yep,
and he
yep.
saw like the ones and zeros, like the binary code. He's like, "Is that the simulation code?" And I was
Dude,
thinking,
that's crazy.
did he have a binary fucking 1-0 filter on it? Maybe, I don't know.
Which is crazy because I have a really sweet laser here with me at the hotel, and yeah, it's powerful enough to pop balloons and light stuff on fire. So
Shit.
I'm gonna have to play with that sometime. That's
While
he
you're on
that
DMT.
that made me think about it. Yeah, like wow, he might be onto something there.
I mean,
And
I guess microdosing it would be a lot different. It's not like you're crashing through the other side. I don't know how it would make you feel, but yeah, I heard the DMT trip though. Like, if you break through, it's only like 7 or 10 minutes, and it feels like an eternity.
yeah, for me, it's only about like if I'm vaporizing DMT, it's about 5 to 8 minutes, depending. Usually 7 or 8 minutes on like the longer end, which is usually like if I'm going in for a like deep spiritual experience, like that's what it's gonna end up being. Well, you could do lighter doses, and like so a lot of people like meditate with it. They do yoga smoking it. So I mean, you can do it like that, but it's definitely not a recreational like every night type of thing. That's
Right.
that's definitely it's way too special for that kind of use, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Same with I heard salvia is kind of similar.
Yeah, I've still never done that. I did, but it like didn't do anything to me like when I was in high school. But I don't
Okay.
know, dude. Yeah, I hear scary shit about salvia too.
Dude, my ex-girlfriend, she used to, well, she still is a chef, but when she first started in as being a chef, her coworkers, after the restaurant closed, they all one by one smoked salvia together, and she said she saw fucking Lego people walking around and talking to her, and she was like, "What?"
Wow.
She was just laughing, right? Because it was like, Lego people, what the fuck, right? And like, everybody has their own experience with it. So I wonder what that's like. You can pick that up at like a regular fucking smoke shop.
Okay, can you still in Canada?
I'm not sure, but they could back then. That was like 2008 or 9.
Okay, right. Yeah, dude. I remember walking in the stores and seeing that too. Like salvia right there. Like, dude, you could have like a literally interdimensionally travel if you buy that right there. Like, what?
Right. I like to watch YouTube videos of people smoking shit like that. And of course, you're not going to get the same effect as they do, right? All you see is them going like this, right? And then you have their asshole buddies trying to fuck with them, right? That I hate because if I'm fucked up, I don't want anybody fucking with me. I just want to like enjoy the ride, right? Even when I was like fucked up on hash when I was like 14 years old, I was like, dude, what the fuck? And my buddy was always there with me. He's like, dude, you're just high. And relax and enjoy the ride. As soon as he said that, I'd be like, all right. And then I just enjoy it, you know? Because at first I'm like start having like anxiety kick in and shit, right? Because this time I
Right.
smoked hash, it felt like I was tripping on acid. It was so crazy. Like that's how powerful that shit was. It was only like two bottle tokes, you know,
Okay.
when you like put the piece of hash on a cigarette, you put in a hole at the bottom of a plastic bottle, you let the smoke fill
Okay.
up, and then you take the cap off and take the smoke in. I did two of those, and I was like tripping for like 8 hours.
Holy shit.
I was walking through like there was like a creek bed area, and on either side were these tall trees, and the trees looked like they were like coming in like this. It looked like the Shire and the Hobbit. It
Right, right.
was so
Wow.
crazy.
So cool.
That day was so wild because I remember it was a Canada Day. It was July 1st, 1994, I believe, and we all met up with a bunch of people to watch the fireworks. And there's this guy Darren that we used to hang out with, and it's weird because he split up from the group, and nobody ever fucking heard from him ever again.
What? Just gone.
Yeah, he was gone. I never heard because I have other friends over the years. I'm like, have you ever heard from Darren since then? And they're like, no, he like fucking just disappeared.
What? I wonder
Yeah,
where'd he go?
I don't know, dude. It was so crazy.
Dude, see, like maybe he was from somewhere else and he just had to dip back home, you know?
I don't know, man. I remember having awesome conversations with him though when I was at parties and like multiple parties, and then like that's who he was. Like I didn't really hang out with him, but like he'd be like a mutual friend that would go to my friends' parties. And yeah, we just so happened to hang out with him that day. And we were like, where did Darren go? I don't know, where did Darren go? And ever since then, nobody fucking knows where he went.
Oh, like literally from that moment.
From that moment, yeah.
That's crazy, man.
I could
How
still picture it. I could still picture him like standing like kind of beside him and off to like behind a little bit and seeing the back of his jean jacket. And that was the last time I ever seen him.
that is crazy, dude. I wonder
And it was
where
like
he went.
that was like what 30 years ago now. Yeah.
Wow. Nobody's ever heard from him.
No, nobody that knew him that I've spoken to knows where he went.
Dude,
It's gone.
that's so crazy. Just gone.
And
He
like
was just like out.
no news of like a death or anything, no news of his whereabouts at all. Whew, that's a wild story.
Crazy. The paranormal stuff at your old house. I wanted to ask you like what exactly did you experience there?
Oh, okay. My audience heard it probably a few times, but I'll tell you because why not? I always like going back there. I think I was like 11 years old or so, and my brother moved he was living with us in the basement, and he joined the military and he moved away. So I moved my bedroom from the upper floor to the basement, and I slept down there the first night. All was good. Second night, I hit the pillow. My dog was at the foot of my bed, and the room is pitch black, right? And the light switch is like far away, right? So I turn the light off. I go all the way to my bed in the corner, hit the pillow, and I'm laying there for maybe 5 minutes, and all of a sudden I hear this fucking deep voice, and it said, "Crack." It just said the word crack, and it was like a disembodied echo, like with a slight echo to it. And I fucking froze.
Wow,
I
dude.
froze up, and I was fucking paralyzed in fear for like a good 20 seconds because I was like, "What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that?" And then I
Dude, I
whipped the
can
covers
imagine.
off.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I whipped the covers off, and I ran upstairs to the top floor and jumped in the middle of my parents in the bed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was terrified. And then the next day I moved all my shit back up into my room again.
Oh my God.
But I still use it as a game room because it was big, right? And I had friends over, they'd come down, play video games, whatever. And one night I was sitting down there by myself playing a game, listening to music, and then I heard my mom from the top of the stairs call my name. And I went upstairs and she's sitting in the living room, like, "Mom, what'd you call me for?" She's like, "I didn't call you." I was like, okay. I didn't think anything of it. So I went back downstairs, did it again, start playing again. And then 5 minutes later, I heard her again, "David." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" Go upstairs. "Mom, what do you want?" She's like, "I didn't call you." I'm like, "What the fuck?" And my mom's not the type to pull pranks, right? Like she never
Right.
really does that. So okay, I go back downstairs again, start playing game. And then the third time I heard it again, but it was like, God. And I was like, I fucking dropped everything and ran upstairs and just sat in the living room with my mom.
Wow.
Because the third time was not her voice. The first two were her voice. I could swear. Like it was her calling me, right?
Wow. So it could mimic
Yeah.
that's creepy. Holy fuck.
The last one, I don't know how long after that experience was, but um my sister-in-law, so my brother that moved out to the military, he got married to his high school sweetheart, and he came to visit with her, and the rest of my family went to go to play bingo together, and me and her, she looked after me while they were out, right? And we're sitting in the kitchen playing or the dining room playing cards, and she's like, "Can you grab me a drink?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I grab her a drink, come back, and I give it to her. She goes, "Thank you." And then right after she said that, we heard in the living room around the walls, "Thank you."
Oh, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
And we both froze and looked at each other. And she goes, "Did you just hear that?" I said, "Yeah." And she grabbed my hand and she's like, "Let's go out on the porch and wait for everybody to go home."
Holy shit.
And it was the same voice I heard the very first time in the basement.
Like not a real like friendly sounding voice.
Right, right. It was like a deep, stern voice, like, "Thank you." Like I can't even like what's the word, mimic it,
Right.
because it's so deep and disembodied with an echo, right? Like, "Thank you," like really quick echo. um so yeah, she grabbed my hand, we went out on the porch and just waited for them to come home. We didn't even say a word to each other, we just sat there because we were both terrified.
Dude, that will stop you in your tracks right there. Wow. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw my first ghost. I was in New Orleans for my birthday in March, and I was looking, I was on like the 18th floor of this hotel, and I'm looking across at the Hilton. It's another real high hotel right across. I'm looking up in the left, I'm seeing this black figure in the window. I like blinked and like looked away for a second, and I looked back, gone. So I feel like that was my first like ever like seeing a ghost because it was like
Right.
it was in a room where there was nobody. It was like very dark up in that corner, and I could just see the outline of a person. I look away, gone. So it's like, what the hell?
Yeah. No, and that's the funny thing too, because I've never really seen anything. I saw shit move by itself, and I door slam. This was actually at my best friend's house when I was growing up, probably in like grade 8, and his house was uh, backing on to the schoolyard. So we used to just walk over there and have a bite to eat at his place because it was play video games, whatever. We're sitting in his room and we're playing a game together, and all of a sudden, like we're facing the TV and his door is to the left. And all of a sudden his door just goes like this, like slowly shutting, and then oh, and then the door handle pushed in and turned and locked us in. And we were like, what the
What?
fuck? And we dropped our controllers and we went to the door and we were like struggling to get the door open and we're like, fuck. And we finally got the door open. And we just fucking ran downstairs and like ran back to school. We're like, fuck, what the fuck was that? It was crazy, dude.
What?
That was at his house too. He had like a lot of shit going on at his place too. It was so strange.
So you guys had paranormal stuff going on with both of you.
Yeah.
And wow, and then experience that together.
Yeah.
That is really crazy, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was wild, dude. Because he was like my soul brother back then too, and we've lost touch over the years. But um, yeah, like we grew up together. We had so many parties together. I was scared to go into his fucking basement when I was over at his place by myself because like I always felt like there was something down there. When you like you could feel something like that energy, right? And
Oh
like when I was a
yes.
kid, I don't know if it was like just in my mind because I was a kid or whatever, but I sensed it. I was like, fuck, I don't like being down here right now. Cause he'd be like, oh dude, can you go down and grab whatever, right? And I'm like, okay, so I fucking quickly run down and fucking quickly run into the room and grab it, run back up the stairs. Like
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo shit, man.
Yeah, you feel like something's gonna like grab your heels on the way up, like, oh
Or or
shit.
or or talk to me, right? Like, because that's what I've experienced in
Yeah,
my
I
house with the
don't like
voices,
that.
right? Yeah, it's
Ooh,
it's it's crazy. But yeah, all that shit, man, like it stays with you. You never forget it, and it just becomes a part of who you are and a part of why you wake up to the other reality, right?
right.
That's what
And
I
I
think,
mean,
anyway.
and those experiences for you, those showed you that okay, there's something else going on that we don't really fully we're not grasping.
Can't comprehend, yeah. Like, and that all is a part of my awakening process. Like, I went really deep into the Bible for quite a while, and I was to the point where I was in like the Hebrew roots movement. You got to stick to the Torah and you got to follow all the commands and this and that, right? Trying to get as close to that as possible. Looking back on it, it was crazy, but I had this dream because I was trying to snap out of this dogmatic way of thinking, and I had this dream that I was in an orphanage and there was like kids sleeping on beds on either side, and I was walking down the middle and I saw a guy sitting there cross-legged, and it was a local Toronto rapper up here. He's pretty big. His name's Chaos. So that was the angel manifested itself as Chaos in my dream. That's why I'm
Wow.
convinced of. And I approached him and he held up a Bible and he said to me, brother, these words can either bind you or free you. The choice is yours. From that moment on, I kind of stepped away from the Bible and started being like, deepening my journey by studying more and more other than just that one book thinking it's the only way, right?
Yeah. Wow, man.
Pretty fucking nuts, man. It's quite the journey because these dreams that I get, they're not just dreams. They're like completely like I'm there, like it's lucid, I'm there, it's real. It's a real experience. And when I wake up, it's like everything's a little fuzzy and I'm like kind of sweating a little bit, and I'm like, dude,
Wow,
did
yeah.
that just fucking happen? That just happened, didn't it? You know?
Yeah, this I gotta tell you about one of my dreams a couple years ago. It was just like you're talking, such a vivid dream, and these like SWAT team looking boys in blue came inside and like took me and like my family outside to the street. But when we got there, everybody else in the neighborhood was already out there. So they got everybody from the whole entire neighborhood, the whole entire everybody everywhere was outside. And I remember a look on their face. it was like they were like they looked at me and they were grinning, and I knew that that grin meant that they knew what was about to go down. And then like 2 seconds later, boom, the whole entire everybody was in a shared DMT experience at the same time, and we were all seeing the same exact stuff. So like that dream, I remember that dream. It was very vivid. So yeah, like what is that? But same kind of thing though. Like you can tell it's an important dream.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. These are like, they're more like visions than dreams,
Yeah.
right? And you get a message that you take away from them too when you wake up. You're like, holy shit, he just told me I don't really have to read the Bible anymore. And most Christians would say that was a demon, you know?
Well, yeah,
And I'm
and
like, no.
a lot of Christians tell me the stuff that I interact with is demonic, but
Right, right.
just like my friend Joe from Library of the Untold says, if it's not if it's not Jesus, it's demons, you know? So,
I
but so
totally disagree, but that's okay.
yeah, it doesn't seem like demons to me. That like it just does not seem that way. And they're like, yeah, that's that's what they want you to think and shit because it's they're trying to get close to you. But dude, it doesn't seem that way.
But dude, like this is the thing, okay? Like with the Bible and Christianity and everything, who was God before the Bible? Who was God when the Sumerians were there? Who was God before the Bible was taken and pieced together and given to us by the Catholic Church and King James? And you know, King James was a fucking madman. Okay, he was a
Right.
freak. So you guys are telling me that there was no other book before the Torah? There was no creator before the Torah, right? That's what fucking really gets my goat. It's like, dude, yeah, I still do believe in a creator, but he's outside of a book. He's not in a book, dude. Like they they kind of pigeonhole themselves
Yeah.
within these words, and it's like, yeah, the words are okay. They're great and everything, but there's so much more to God than just the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita or Buddhism or whatever. Like they're all great messages, but who was God before the Bible was written? If you were in who was God before the Torah was written? You know, that's my main question. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I think I think
To
the
me,
answer.
sorry, to me, the Bible and all Abrahamic religions are there for, like I said earlier, like for the Zionists to control and dominate the world, thinking they have, making us think that they have authority from God. And it's like, I don't think you do. Honestly, I don't.
Can you hear me still?
Yes.
All right, my computer is not the power in the hotel is not working or something because
Oh
I'm
shit.
pl or my charger shit the bed, but my computer's that's what I'm dealing with over here. It's on 4%, but the charger's not working.
That's okay. You just got a voice change. That's all.
All right.
So yeah, that's my thoughts on like all that shit. It's like, what gives them the right to like be the authority of God? And that's why I think the Antichrist has already been here for a long time. You know what I mean? Like I think we've been ruled by the Antichrist for a long time, and I think we're stepping into something else and something greater. Meanwhile, these motherfuckers out there who claim they have the authority are trying to create this apocalyptic event so that they can have even more control.
Yeah, they're trying to like hurry up.
um the apocalypse, you know what I mean? Like They're trying to make that shit come faster.
Right. Because, Jesus can come back and have his reign, right? And like, I don't know, man. That seems fucking pretty sketchy to me.
Yes, it does.
And I've looked at books over the years, and it had like a timeline of like God's plan, right? And like the third temple being rebuilt, and then the Antichrist coming back, and then after that, Jesus coming back and dominating over the Antichrist. It's like maybe the Antichrist is already here, and those waking up are supposed to be more Christ-like and then take them over. Maybe that's what the return of
Right.
Christ is. Maybe it's not just this one entity that we're all supposed to worship, but we're supposed to be like, and then maybe start a revolution and then start a new kind of golden age without the Antichrist's control. These are the fucking things I think about all the time.
Yeah, that's you're thinking about all the right stuff, man. Very, very important questions we have to ask,
Yeah,
And
I
it's
mean,
like
it doesn't consume me, but it's
yeah.
always there. That question is like a cloud there. Like, what what's gonna happen?
So then I know watching movies is fun for you too, huh?
Mhm.
Seeing all that
Absolutely.
symbolism and all the crazy shit that they're pumping into your mind.
I see it all, but at the same time, like it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect
Exactly.
what path I'm going down.
Right.
Like yesterday, I watched a movie called "In a Violent Nature," and it was a horror film filmed in Canada. And it was basically like the Friday the 13th story, the Jason story, because what happens is this slow kid was picked on and teased by these firefighters, and they basically killed him and buried him under a fire tower. And they left his mother's gold locket on like some of the ruins. These teenagers come, they're talking about the story, and then one of them grabs the fucking locket, puts it in his pocket. And right after they do that, they leave, and then the leaves start moving, and he comes out from the ground, and then you see his third person perspective from his back, and he's walking towards whatever sound he can find, and it's basically watching Jason but in a third person perspective. It's fucking incredible.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. I feel like I've seen that on like
It's not it's released in the theaters, and it was released in the theaters in May 24th, I believe, but I think it's coming to Shutter in August. But I just watched it
okay,
on a free website
okay, gotcha.
because my buddy was like, "You gotta watch this movie. You gotta watch it." So I was like, "Okay, set it up now." And I watched it, and I was like, I was totally glued to the screen of the whole thing, and even the conversation, like the dialogue in the movie, the conversations with the teenagers and shit, you can hear it from a distance because the killer is listening into it, right?
Okay, of a violent
Yeah,
nature.
in a violent nature, yeah,
In a violent nature. Okay, cool.
yeah. And the killer's
And
name is Johnny.
hey, Johnny.
The kills are very creative and very gory, so be prepared for that.
Okay, cool.
Very creative, yeah, very creative. Actually, I was looking at the actor who played the killer on Instagram, and he posted like something about the movie, and I said I just watched it today. It was so fucking good, and he gave me a like. I was like,
Hell
sweet,
yeah. Awesome.
so cool.
Hell yeah. Um, I just wanna let you know, um, my computer, I got 2% left, and my charger is not working. So I just I don't wanna get
Want to crash?
yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
I don't know how long we've been going, but or how long you were shooting for.
It's okay. We did over an hour, so yeah. Quickly though, before you go, I could probably talk to you for fucking hours, but um, give my audience where they can find you.
Yeah, man. Occult 45 podcast with Evan Dee. That is me. And yeah, I'm available everywhere you get your podcasts except for YouTube. My YouTube is mostly for like music stuff. That's where I post like covers and stuff like that. And just I have a couple like videos on there talking about this kind of stuff, but yeah, I'm not on YouTube. I am on TikTok too. I make clips with the videos from the shows. So, but yeah,
Oh,
just type in Occult 45 and anywhere you get your media, and you should find me there. Alt Media United .com/occult dash 45. Shout out Mark from My Family Thinks I'm Crazy. I am on that too. It's like a alternative media site, all different podcasts, and
Mark's
mine is
great guy.
yeah, definitely a great dude. So you can find me there. But yeah, thanks for having me, dude. And we definitely got to continue this because we got
Oh, for sure,
a lot more to
for
talk about.
for sure, man. When you have a full charge or whatever, yeah, man, for sure. Thanks for coming on, Evan. And oh, that's Evan D, by the way, D and Occult 45 podcast. Keep on rocking it, brother, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thanks, man. Later.
Later.